You are Locked On Astros Postcast, part of Locked On Sports Houston on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
It is staying home, people. What is staying home? The most important trophy in the history of sports. The Silver Boot remains in Houston, thanks to a win today in the rubber match of the series, the rubber match of the season series for your Houston Astros over those Texas Rangers. Thank you for joining us this afternoon here on the Locked On Astros Postcast. If you're new to the channel, well, welcome. If you're not, well, welcome back. I'm, of course, your host, Michael Connor. I've been with you all season long, been talking Astros baseball with you guys for years, and, of course, we do it once again tonight. Today, when the Astros get the victory on the road, like they did over this Texas Rangers club by a final of 6-4, moving to 59-55 on the season. You absolutely love to see when the Astros go to Arlington and take care of business like they did over the last couple of days to secure that series win. We got a lot to get into. Of course, we'll talk about the Bats getting the win today. We will get into the fact that the team also, has a pitcher on the mound named Yusei Kikuchi that continues to do his thing. We'll take a look ahead to the series against the Boston Red Sox. That's all coming up here in just a few minutes. Today's episode of the Locked On Astros Postcast is brought to you by Prize Picks, the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnMLB and use code all lowercase Locked On MLB for a first deposit match up to $100. All right. Thank goodness the Bats woke up, right? They had to have the Bats wake up. The Bats have absolutely been dormant for the Astros recently. Simple as that. It has not been consistent at all. And guess what? Today, they found their way in some key spots. Now, look, early on, they absolutely had the same issue that they've been having recently, which is leaving guys on base left and right. Runners in scoring position, left in scoring position constantly. The overall number today for the Astros still doesn't look great with that. 3 for 14 with runners in scoring position, 10 men left on base total. That clearly has to improve. That's something that has been, a big-time problem at times for this team, and today they did that. The good news is they had a lot of opportunity to score, and they scored 6 runs, and here's the thing. Could they have scored more? Of course. I just gave you the numbers. They had so many opportunities with ducks on the pond, ready to go come home, and they just weren't able to capitalize. And I think we do this when we talk about that stat in particular. Like, I get frustrated by it, like I know all of you get frustrated by it every single day. They still scored 6 runs. And in a Major League Baseball game, if you score 6 runs, you should win. Simple as that. And guess what they did? They won today. They did their job. They scored enough. Their pitching did its job. Yeah, a little bit of blunder here and there. Taylor Scott, Ryan Presley today, both not so good. But Kikuchi did his job. Abreu did his job. Where are all my Josh Hader haters at? They love to pile in on Josh Hader like, oh, he makes me so nervous. Bang, 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 bang. 3 days in a row, he pitches, which was interesting to see. It's the first time, by the way, that Hader has done that since September, I think, 18th through the 20th last year was the dates he did it with the Padres. So Astros getting a little frisky with it. He only threw 9 pitches last night, but he threw over 20 in the first game. It's always interesting to see when you go and push a reliever like that. But that also speaks to where this team is at in terms of their season right now. They are, as we know, in a dogfight in the American League West. It's not going to slow down anytime soon because nobody in this division just feels like they want to pull away. And that's okay, I guess. You just get to live with that. Seattle, by the way, will play later tonight as we do this show against the Tigers, who they lost to last night. Feel good about the Tigers' chances tonight. They got Tarek Skubal, one of the favorites for the American League, Cy Young on the mound. So hopefully he goes out and does his thing. They score enough for him, and the Astros can be back technically ahead of the Mariners in the American League West, because at this moment they are back to where are my standings? I just had these up. They are back to being tied at 59 and 55. Of course, Seattle holds the tiebreaker this season over the Astros. That's okay, whatever. You just have to finish ahead of them, and you're back even record-wise. Seattle could fall half a game back tonight with a loss. So go, Tigers, go. The boot, though. Let's talk about the boot for a second. Now, look, it's just a cute little gimmicky thing. It doesn't necessarily matter at all, of course. It's just nice to have as fans. Team doesn't care about it now like they used to. Like it used to be kind of a big thing, and they have now secured that boot every year since, since 2000 and was it 16? 17. Every year since 2017, they have secured that boot. You love to see it. You love to see it. Does it make it any easier that the fact that the Astros lost them in the postseason last year? No, of course not. It still hurts. Still very painful. Don't like it at all. Still kind of haunts me in my dreams, especially when Altuve hit the home run there in Arlington to give the Astros a 3-2 series. We're not talking about that today. We're not doing it. Congratulations to them. They won a World Series. The Astros have won 2. Things are still right in the world. It's okay. And everything's getting back right in the world this season because the Astros went ahead and, knocked the Rangers back even further in terms of their contention this season. They're still hoping to make a run. They pushed back to 5.5 games out. They're now 54 and 61 on the season. 9 games out of a wild card. But as I've been saying to you, it's not impossible that the West doesn't have it's not impossible that the West has a wild card team, but I don't think it's likely. 3.5 out for the wild card are both the Astros and the Mariners at this moment. So that could be something that's in play later in the season. Hopefully it's not. Hopefully the Astros just simply take care of their business and they go ahead and, keep doing their thing and win this thing. And yeah, you guys are right. I see you guys in the comments talking about it. It is bragging rights to an extent, I guess. I don't think that – I always say that, and I get that. They don't have a good fan base in Dallas for baseball. They never have. It's spotty at best. They built that ballpark over there in Arlington, which is from Dallas miles away, a long drive. But, look, they won the World Series last year. I was looking at this the other day. The Astros are – this is just in terms of the American League. The Astros are second in the American League in attendance this year. The Rangers won the World Series last year. Imagine this. Won the World Series last year. They're like, I think, 5th or 6th in attendance this season. How? You won the World Series last year. Like, how do you not fill the ballpark up every single night? I guess I'd have to go, but the 2023 Astros, they are one of the top attended teams they were second in the American League last year. They got over 3 million fans. Rangers aren't touching that number this year. It's just not a good baseball market. And a lot of that is, look, for the most part of their history, they've been booty flakes. I think it's the easiest way to put it. So, boot stays home, baby. Boot stays home. I've never gotten close to the silver boot. I've been lucky. I've had the 2017 World Series trophy in my hands. There's a picture of me holding it at the radio station back in the day. I have never held the silver boot. So I don't know if the boot is actually got, the ability to pour something in. And maybe on the flight home, if they took it with them, they could, have a drink. Or not on the flight home, on the flight to Boston, which we'll talk about that Boston series coming up in just a bit. By the way, if you're those of you asking there, the Astros attendance is second in the American League this year. They're going to probably push $3 million again when it comes to attendance this season. You guys show up, you guys show out, which does matter. It does matter for the money that they bring in. Like Jim Crane flat out tells you, you guys spend money, we're going to spend the money back. And to his credit, they do. So keep spending with the Astros. They're going to go spend it on players, and hopefully the decision is right when it comes to who they're spending money on. Simple as that. I don't know who's number one. Yeah, the Yankees are first in attendance this year, probably just because they looks like they've just had more home games. So that kind of plays into it as well. Let's talk about Yusei Kikuchi. He was good again today for the Astros. We'll talk about him in just a brief second right here on the Locked On Astros Postcast. Do you want to make games more exciting? Well, why not start that today with Prize Picks? If you've not downloaded the app yet, what are you waiting for? It's America's #1 daily fantasy sports app with over 5 million active members. Prize Picks is the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. And unlike other apps on Prize Picks, it's just you against the numbers. You can get in on the excitement and win up to 100 times your cash with the summer games on Prize Picks. With Prize Picks, you could turn $10 into $1,000 while watching Team USA rack up the gold medals this summer. You can make a Prize Picks lineup across players across basketball, soccer, tennis, golf, and more in as little as 60 seconds. Just pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections, and you're locked in. Download the Prize Picks app today and use code LOCKEDONMLB for a first deposit match up to $100. That's code LOCKEDONMLB on Prize Picks for a deposit match up to $100. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy. Locked On Astros Postcast continues here on a Wednesday. I was going to say Thursday. Thursday, they're off tomorrow. We'll be back Friday, by the way. This channel won't have anything on it tomorrow. And if you're new to the channel today, thanks for stopping by. I'm your host, Michael Connor. If you've not heard of me before, well, it's nice to have you here. If you do know me, and maybe I'm from your past of listening on the radio, thank you for stopping by and saying hello. You can hit that subscribe button to get all the notifications for when we go live. If you're looking for this show on podcast, anywhere that you get your podcast, go search for Locked On Astros. You will not only get this show, you will get Brett and Eric on the Locked On Astros podcast, which they do daily. And it's a great show. They do reaction shows as well. Make sure you go check them out. And when you're listening to this show, you can flip over to there. And then once you're done with that show, you can flip back to here. Whatever it is, all on the same channel. 2 great shows for the price of absolutely nothing but your time. And we are appreciative of you taking your time to listen to all these shows. Tomorrow, by the way, real quick, housekeeping note, on this channel, again, this is my plan. It's a little bit of a bold plan, I know. I'm going to watch both games tomorrow night. And you say both games? Well, they got Astros going, 6 o'clock against the Red Sox. Also at 6 o'clock, you have the Texans playing I was going to call them the St. Louis Rams for a second. God, age myself, why don't I? I'm not that old. I'm officially about to be in my mid-30s. Like, yikes. But the Los Angeles Rams. So the plan is we do whatever game finishes first. We do that show first. And then when the other game finishes, that show will probably be going on. But as soon as the show ends, the new show will start. It's not going to be the same show. It'll be 2 different links. I'll tweet them out. Don't worry. Follow me at Connor Michael. You'll get those. But just subscribe to the channel, and you'll have the alerts on both. So we're going to talk a lot of things Friday night. Astros and Texans. We do that for every game on this show. Astros, Texans, Rockets, Cougs. Join us right here. And, of course, listen to those podcasts of all those shows on their channels and on their YouTube pages as well. Yusei Kikuchi today for the Astros. Second start. So far, the review is good. I, like many of you, very upset about the trade. We still – did I say the Rams? My bad. When did they play the Rams? They play the Steelers. See, that's on me. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I have been up since 3:30 this morning. I had to take my beautiful wife out to the airport to catch her very early morning flight for work. And, I'm going to go to sleep very, very soon after this show ends here in a little bit. Probably about at 6 o'clock at latest bedtime for your boy here, who, again, is getting old. But Kikuchi is going to maybe make me rethink some of my thoughts on him. Now, I still wonder how it's going to look moving forward. He's played a Tampa team, faced a Tampa team that has struggled offensively this season, and he has faced this Rangers team that they've got some guys in the lineup, of course. They're not, they have a losing record. They're not an unbelievable team by any means. And, that's okay. So I want to see what happens where the schedule lines up for him. And, he's looked really good so far. The one thing you would like to see is that, and I'm trying to pull up the tweet that Chandler Rome had earlier as I'm doing this, and I had it up earlier and I closed the tab that it was on. But the fact that he was acquired for a ton of capital, you can still not like that for a guy that's a rental. Unless in their minds they're looking at him and saying, we would like to sign him past this season. It's going to be interesting to see what he gets, because if he pitches well here, he's a lefty that throws 97 miles an hour basically, that's going to get paid. He's coming off of a 3-year, $36 million deal that he signed with the Blue Jays a couple of years ago. But today, this was the Chandler Rome tweeted this out earlier, the screenshot of his StatCast stuff today. I was interested to see what the Arsenal looked like. There wasn't as much changeup today. It's a matchup thing. All the advanced scouting that they do, they know who does what against what pitch. And maybe the Rangers matchup said, you don't use the changeup as much today. He threw 48 four-seam fastballs, 29 sliders, 12 changeups, and 11 curveballs. Averaged on the fastball 95.7 today, which I do think was a little bit down. But overall, I will say that he looks better than what we all, as Astros fans, have known him to be. And we know him because we've watched him pitch in the American League and pitch against the Astros quite a bit. And eyes are off a little bit when he's going off to Toronto, unless you're just an absolute baseball, fiend like I and like a lot of you I know are, and you're going to go out there and watch him on MLB TV when he's pitching with the Blue Jays. But I think one of the things that caught my eye when they traded for him, and knowing his past again, you just knew that this was a thing, is how much he gets hit around. And we're now 2 starts in as an Astro. His time with the Blue Jays this year, just give you his quick numbers. He was 22 starts in with the Blue Jays, and in 115 2/3 innings, he gave up 125 hits. That is a lot of hits to give up. Did not walk a lot of guys this year. Did walk 3 of them today, but racked up strikeouts again. Had 8 strikeouts. But so far, I think the most encouraging thing for me since he's joined the Astros now, which you're 2 starts in for Kikuchi, he's 1-0 with a 327. In 11 innings, he's given up 4 runs. It's a small sample size. He's only given up 7 hits so far. He's not getting slapped around the yard. It's not as much. It doesn't look to me that the hard contact has been unbelievable the entire time. And I think that's a good thing. Max exit velocity against him today was 108.4, which I'm assuming had to be the Simeon home run, I believe. Here's the thing, though. He is going to have to find a way to try and pitch more than 5 1/3 innings, 5 2/3 innings. They need to get him into the 6th. Or they need to get him through the 6th. They need to get him into the 7th. Not every time, but that's what this team needs out of him. The stretch that they have coming up, too, where, it sounds like at some point soon they're going to have Verlander back, but I've brought this up. Starting on the 16th of August, they will play all the way until the 3rd of September before they have a day off. That's a lengthy period of time. That's 3, 6, 10, 13, 16, 17, 18 games in a row without a day off. So getting length out of your rotation in that period of time is going to be absolutely massive. I know that their idea is that they're going to a 6-man rotation, but that's not a guarantee on anything because, what if Verlander goes out there, knock on some wood, in a start with Sugarland and his neck tweaks out and he's got to stay back out. Like, we all know that their margins are completely shot. They're on their last leg when it comes to pitching depth this season. They can't have anything bad happen. But what they also need is that they need a guy that can go out and give them some length occasionally. If you're an elite starting pitcher like you watched Fromber last night, I'm asking him to go out and throw 8 2/3 of no-hit baseball. But if you're the elite top of the rotation type of guy, you're going to go out and you're going to get through at least 6 every time. Simple as that. So that's something that if I did have one critique, but I can't have a lot of critiques through 2 starts. He's been excellent. It does not look like a horrific trade in terms of production for this season at this moment. Now, to me, still, even if there's not a superstar in that mix that you gave up, I think it was Bloss more than anybody else that I was most interested to see because, they put a lot into a 3rd-round pick just last year to be in the big leagues already. But if they win the World Series this year, if they find a way to win the World Series this year, the trade is always worth it. We'll see if that's the case. Let's talk about this Red Sox series coming up. It's going to be an important one against a team that you obviously can't sleep against, and we'll do that here in just a brief second on the Locked On Astros Postcast. I've told you guys the last few days about Liquid IV. It is super hot outside, like insanely hot today. And you know what? You're going to get dehydrated. I was going to do it today, but I'm going to do it tomorrow since it's the off day for the Astros. I got to go mow my yard. And every time that I mow the yard, I have at least 2 Liquid IVs while doing it. Why? Because it's better hydration than just water alone. It gets those electrolytes back in my body that I need. It gets all those good things, all the nutrients that I need back in my body when I'm out there exerting it constantly. And tomorrow, when I do mow that yard, I will have in my pocket 2 Liquid IV sugar-free peach flavors because those are my absolute favorite. Don't tell my wife. She is going to get very mad if she finds out I'm drinking all of them. I may or may not have drank most of them that were in the package that we have right now. She loves the lemon lime, though, so that's a good thing for me. I love the lemon lime. There's so many great flavors of Liquid IV, and you need to try it for yourself today. It's just tear, pour, live more. 1 stick plus 16 ounces of water hydrates better than water alone. No more thirsty summers. When you indulge in hydration with Liquid IV, get 20% off your first order of Liquid IV when you go to liquidiv.com and use code LOCKEDONMLB at checkout. That's 20% off your first order when you shop Better Hydration today using promo code MLB at liquidiv.com. Locked On Astros Postcast continuing here on a Thursday evening. Thank you again for joining me, Michael Connor, your host. Hit that subscribe button to the channel. Come on back. Listen to this show anywhere that you get your podcast. Go and search for Locked On Astros. You not only get this show there on that channel, you get the Locked On Astros show with Brett and Eric. I'm sure those guys got something. I've not checked their tweets to see if they're going yet, but if they haven't started yet, I know that they'll be starting soon on their YouTube page. Go ahead and subscribe to their YouTube page as well. It's a big Astros community with Locked On. We appreciate Locked On giving all of us the ability to talk Astros and being here with you. And thank you again for you guys joining me today for this show. The series coming up for the Astros, Boston Red Sox up in Boston, which again, the plan tomorrow night is to do both Texans and Astros. You say, Michael, how can you pay attention to both and do both? I get it. There's going to be a detail here or there that I'll probably miss. I will say I think it's easy to do. This is just my standpoint when there is a baseball game going on. Because baseball, there's a lot of things in baseball where there's no action. They're going to play tomorrow night in Boston, though, against the Red Sox. And they're going to park I don't know why I try and do that. I can't do it. I've been to Boston twice. If you ever have the ability, I went for both the ALCS. All right, yeah. I went for the 2018 ALCS and the 2021 ALCS. Go to Boston. Got to see Fenway. Look, it's not a modern ballpark by any means. It's tight quarters walking around the concourse, which is below the stands. You can't see the field from down there. The bathrooms by the end of the night they're completely covered in urine. Just be honest with it. They overflow. It's pretty gross. But they've kept everything up, and it's so, it looks so big and intimidating on TV. It is such a tiny ballpark when you get there because it's so old. Back in the day, they didn't build them like they do now. Make sure your seat is not obstructed as well. There are seats that are behind poles, and the seats are not very comfortable. They're just straight wood. But the experience, the atmosphere of it, the area around the ballpark there in Boston. Maybe you're going to the game this weekend. If you are, shoot it in the comments. You're going to have a great time. It's a really, really cool place. It's something that every baseball fan has to see. Absolutely has to go see Fenway Park at some time. And I've been very lucky in my radio pass that I got a couple of chances to go up there. And I went up there when the weather was good too, in the fall. It's a beautiful city in the fall. Absolutely beautiful. The colors, the leaves changing and everything, just the crispness in the air. I thoroughly enjoyed my 2 trips up there, even if the Astros lost one of those series. It is what it is. Second one, they did very well up there in Boston, where Jordan played Pepper with the Red Monster, or the Green Monster, quite a bit there. The Red Sox, though, are a team that you cannot look past. Clearly, they're right in the thick of it in the wild card. They're a half game out in the American League wild card race at this moment. They're 61-51 right now as we do this show. They might not on paper have a lot of the things that you look at and go, oh, they're terrifying. But look, that's just kind of the Red Sox Boston way, right? They might not be the most talented Red Sox team that they've ever had, but they just, and that's an Alex Cora thing, make the jokes that you want to make about sign stealing and whatnot, but they just find ways to go out there and win. They got some monsters, of course, in that lineup. Devers, Tyler O'Neill is a big-time bopper as well for them. Pitching-wise, it's going to be interesting to see how the Astros bats handle them. Love to see the game get to Kenley Jansen at the end. The Astros have done pretty well against him in the past, so who knows if a game comes to that. Last I've seen here, there are no announced starters for this series, but, and I will say, like Joseph, real quick there, Joseph in the comments, I told you I've been to Boston twice. I don't think that anybody hates Texans. I talked to a lot of people when I was there, and everybody was really nice. I know that Northeast area is a little bit different than it is down here in the in our Texas region, hospitality-wise. They're a little bit more harsh, but I had nothing but great experiences in the city of Boston with people on top of it. Even their fans, I thought, were nothing near as bad as Yankees fans going to games there. I'm sure that it's not great to be a player that is of player of color throughout the years. We've heard a lot of stories about that. You hear some of the things that get chirped. I did hear some of that when we were there, but I thought it's something that every baseball fan has to go and see. You have to go see Fenway Park at some point. Oldest ballpark in America, and it's worth it. But this is a big series for the Astros. This is a big stretch starting now for this team where they start playing a lot of teams that are really good. And Boston's one of those teams. They got the Red Sox this week, and then they go to Tampa to finish up this road trip. And they're going to come back home. They're playing a lot of Sox this month, White Sox and Red Sox again on the homestand. So we'll see what happens there. If you can keep them in the ballpark this weekend, I think that you could probably have a pretty decent weekend there in Boston. And hopefully the Astros bats busting out the way that they did today. Going into that atmosphere, a little hitter friendly, at this time of the year. I don't know what the weather's looking like there. It's still August, so it can't be cooling off too much just yet. I would go ahead and imagine that the ball will fly because they're going to play 2 day games in this one. Today, not tomorrow. Tomorrow's a night game. Saturday is a 3 o'clock our time game, and then Sunday is a 12 o'clock game, which actually I'm looking at the forecast right now for Boston. Friday does not look wonderful. Saying right now 70% chance of rain on Friday, so we'll see how that goes. Maybe we'll just be doing Texans Friday night against the Steelers. I looked at the schedule the other day. They play the Rams in the preseason. I don't know why I said the Rams, but it is what it is. Thank you guys for stopping by the channel today and watching the show. If you are new to it, please hit that subscribe button. Come back, enjoy it, or join us again. I hope you enjoy it. We'll do this again Friday night after Astros and Red Sox right here on the Locked On Astros Postcast.